Folks, Kale is coming up next. We already knew this going into 8-year because that's just how it typically goes. But with the added bonus of our infamous leaker, I seriously, coming out of the shadows to let us know that Kale's coming up. I like how he did this. It's pretty much 100% confirmed at this point. So Kale is coming up next on Global, which means as soon as the 8-year anniversary concludes in a couple of days, we will be jumping into a fairly moderate, lukewarm celebration for most people. Or for some of you guys, you know, to be fair, you might be very excited. Kale is a very good unit, but unfortunately, this could not come at a worse time. The harsh reality for global players is that, you know, between July and October, it's summoning season. There's just so much hype happening with the two major celebrations that, you know, the one that happens in the middle kind of falls between the cracks. And this time around, it's not going to be as easy as a skip for some people. For most people, it will be, simply for the fact that the category itself is so underrepresented, but the unit in a vacuum is very good. But the unit will be back. And when the unit comes back, it will not only be there, but other units will be on the banner as well. Plus a more hype headliner will also be there. So it's not like it's the end of the world if you don't necessarily pull the unit, but that's besides the point. Today's video, we're going to be looking at the Kale Dokkan Festival celebration on JP. We're going to use it to approximate just how many stones we could potentially see on Global. Now, I say approximate very, very deliberately. This is not an accurate approximation. There will be, you know, variability here. There could be some error either because of myself, you know, not calculating them right. Maybe Dokkan elects to add more content or remove some content. Maybe some mission parameters are changed. Who knows? There could be any number of reasons why the ultimate result doesn't end up being what we predict, but still, this will give you an idea for how many stones you will be getting by the time you go into Worldwide. Maybe you're one of those people who spent a ton of stones during Part 1, and you have been very diligent about recovering, you know, saving whatever stones you earned from Part 2 onwards. You only did your ticket summons or whatever. You know, maybe you're one of those and you can only see the positives from this. Maybe you're desperate for stones because you went ham on both Part 1 and Part 2, and then you went back into Part 1 and you need stones desperately. I'm gonna let you know right now, folks, if you're one of those people, I hate to break it to you, you will not be earning a lot from this. There's not a lot of stones coming up during this one celebration, because don't forget, this is a singular Part 1 celebration. There is no Part 2. The Part 2 for Kale already happened before the 8-year anniversary. This was the Part 2 for Super 17. So this is going to be a very bare bones celebration when compared to the one we just had, and then several other collective celebrations when you factor in Part 1 and Part 2. So that being said, let's jump in. So starting off with the number one thing, the login bonus is already going to be cut in half, because the login bonus here accounts for Part 1 and Part 2. Again, we already had a Part 2, and there is no room for a Part 2 in this little spot. So the login bonus is already virtually cut in half. Instead of counting 3+ weeks worth of stones, 1 per day, we're going to go ahead and just count this as 14, 2 weeks. Why? Because that's basically what we've predicted here for this celebration. It could change, you know, like it could be 17 days, it could be 18 days. Like, for example, last year after the 7-year anniversary on Global, we had about 17 days on the Raditz Trapped celebration before Worldwide started. So, you know, it's all approximate. And also, I want to let you guys know, I will be lowballing these estimations, because that way we will only be, you know, we will only be pleasantly surprised in the end. You know, like if I always lowball the predictions, then, you know, if you're getting X for stones, you're gonna end up getting like X plus 50 during the actual celebration, which is a bonus, which is better. So we're gonna get 14 dragon stones from the login bonus. Then we are gonna get special missions. Now here's the problem. The special missions are already in jeopardy, because the special missions count Part 1 and Part 2. And originally I counted both, which I can't here. But actually, now that I think about it, we could actually include this. So we have to count only the Part 1 missions. So there's 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. That's 8 stones for just the Part 1 missions. And then we could also include this if we wanted to. I'm just going to go ahead and not, just to lowball again. So we're just going to leave it at 8 dragon stones for the Part 1. You know, I mean, not even Part 1. It's just the missions for this celebration. That's 8. We're also getting another 3 from the final week of this summertime Dokkan mission thing. Don't forget, we've had 4 weeks of this throughout the 8-year anniversary, with the 4th one resulting in the final batch of rainbow tickets. So the 5th week is now going to carry us into the worldwide download countdown missions. So after this one is over, August 20th, there will be another week's worth of missions, but those will be like the worldwide download countdown ones. But this gives us 3. So 8 stones plus an extra 3. So that kind of balances out. That gives us 11, right? Then we've got the Dokkan event itself. The Dokkan event itself gives you 2 stones, 1 for each difficulty, as always. Then we've got Quest Area 31. Now, I don't know if we're going to get this or if we're not going to get this, but I would imagine we do. There's no reason for us to not get it. So if we were to just simply count all the stones we get, it's 3 per stage. So level 1 all the way through level 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So that gives us 24 dragon stones just by doing the new quest stage. And then obviously this will be giving us a new link leveling stage, which we'll also talk about in a separate video. Moving on here, we've also got Extreme Z areas coming back. Now, I don't count this stuff because this is returning events for players who I would assume have already done these. If you're brand new, which could be a decent chunk of you guys, shout out to all of you tunes who have joined the channel, who have joined Dokkan since the 8-year anniversary. There's been a lot of you guys. So if you guys are new players, then all of this stuff is just going to give you a ton more stones. All these different story events give you more stones for simply completing them. You get more stones for completing the missions associated with the Extreme Z area. These free-to-play units are pretty decent, especially the Kale and the Caulifla. The Kale is a fantastic Universe Survival Saga support. Granted, the category itself is kind of, you know, in a barren wasteland right now, but still, any help that you can get would be useful. So Kale is going to be great. STR Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla is a fantastic dodging specialist who is free-to-play, but also a very good unit on pay-to-play teams. So she can be useful. So getting all these done for new players is priority number 1, which gives you even more stones. We've also got like April Fool's stuff in here. Sadly, this celebration misses a lot of stuff because April Fool stuff happens during the Kale celebration, and then also World Tournament happens here, right? And we already had the World Tournament before the 8-year anniversary. So are we going to get another one right afterwards? I don't think so. Usually World Tournaments take about 3 to 4 months. I don't think we're going to be getting another one right away. I think, if anything, we'll get it after maybe worldwide download, maybe like on the Turles celebration, somewhere down here, perhaps. I don't think we're going to get one before that. That's my personal opinion. If we do, that's 50 stones. So that's great for those of you who don't care about World Tournament, but for people like me, that's a disaster. But anyway, that's besides the point. So with World Tournament and April Fools effectively being removed from this, that kind of leaves a major hole in how much more stones we could be receiving here. So let's just finish up the count, not counting all this stuff. New players, you get all this. Well, actually, even new players, you won't get this. It's not going to be there. We're going to get Ultimate Clash. So the good news here is that the Ultimate Clash will be giving us the LR Hachiyak. LR Hachiyak is now poised to release finally on Global. So if you've been waiting for that, a new Artificial Life Forms LR, he will be dropping with this new Ultimate Clash, which gives us 31 Dragon Stones. So along with that, you have a new LR. If you guys have been saving Battlefield memory, you could spend it on that. If you're brand new to the game, you probably won't have enough Battlefield memory at the moment, but still, we'll talk about that in a separate video. Then we've got the LR KFC EZA. So this is going to give you 33 Dragon Stones. That is a fairly standard one. Then we've got Super Battle Road. So the Kale celebration on JP gave them a Super Battle Road, but on the part 2 for the Kale Dokkan Festival, they received an Extreme Super Battle Road. Now, I mentioned this because we already had part 2 on Global, and on the part 2 side for JP, they received the Extreme Super Battle Road. But if we look at the Global part 2 celebration here, let's take a look at this. This was the part 2 to the Super 17, right, where the Super Boost showed up. Down here, we had the World Tournament, and we also had a Super Battle Road. So are we going to get an Extreme Super Battle Road next, or are we going to get a Super Battle Road next? So that kind of, you know, throws into question how many stones we get from that. It's either going to be 6 stones or 8 stones. Not that big a deal, but still worth pointing out. Let's go back to the part 1 details here. I think that's pretty much it, right? EZA, Super Battle Road, and then it's just World Tournament stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The Dragon Ball story event for the Fearsome Ginyu Force, that happened during this. Yeah, we already got that. So that's not going to be there. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of going to be missing from this Kale celebration. So let's just do the final tally based on what we currently have. Login, 14 Dragon Stones. We already know this. This is 2 weeks. Daily missions, I don't typically like to count this because I like for people to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm sure some people will be rattled that I don't mention it in the comments. So for you guys, I will, you know, acknowledge this, but I am going to remove some of these because it's usually 1 stone per day for the daily missions. You get double during weekends. So I'm going to just remove a couple just to be on the safe side. We'll do it at the end just to kind of lowball it. Then we got missions, 8 stones, as I mentioned. Summer missions, that's that Ribrienne looking thing. That gives us 3. Dokkan API gives us 2. Quest 31 gives us 24. Ultimate Clash gives us 31. LR KFC gives us 33. SBR gives us 6. ESBR gives us 8. So we could average it out to 7 if we wanted to. But regardless, the total is about 170. So now the question is going to be, will we receive an ESBR as opposed to SBR? Will we get a Peton battle, even though we got one during the part 2 prior to the 8-year anniversary? Maybe we get another one during this Kale Dokkan Festival. Could there be other content coming in to sort of fill the void for what was left behind with the World Tournament and the April Fool stuff not being there. Possibly, but since this is an approximation, I can't really accommodate all that stuff, so we could just leave it at 170. But if anything, I'm gonna lower the count a little bit more just to be on the safe side. So we're gonna say 160. So 160 Dragon Stones at least should be available approximately in the upcoming Kale Dokkan Festival celebration. That way, if we get more stuff, we will be pleasantly surprised. Yay, more content, more stones for us to then be ready for the worldwide download. And again, we don't know what it is yet. By the time I post this video, will we learn that it's Future Saga? Will it be something else? I don't know. But anyway, that's it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, with 160 Dragon Stones added to your total right now, how many stones do you have? What is your outlook for the rest of the year? Are you going to be summoning on the Kale celebration? Are you excited for Kale personally? Are you going to be saving up for worldwide download regardless of what it is? What is your overall outlook on the next couple of weeks going into worldwide? Let me know your thoughts overall in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you literally know when I'm going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.